What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Kevin with Optimized Essentials, and in today's video we're going to be talking about monk mode. Okay, my journey in 2023, my 100-day journey in 2023, what monk mode is, why I did it, why you should potentially consider doing it, and some of the benefits you can expect to experience if you do decide to do it. Okay, so first let's talk about what it is. What is monk mode, right? This concept, I first encountered it. There's a few different communities where this term is thrown around, right? In NoFap, in semen retention, monk mode is referred to as kind of like celibacy, right? Where you're just like living like a monk. You're not having sex, no masturbation, no porn, etc. Right? So there's this form of monk mode. And then in the more entrepreneurial space, there's the monk mode of cutting out distractions from your life, cutting out things so that you can focus, right? The first time I encountered this type of monk mode was through Sam Ovens in a video called Monk-Like Discipline. And essentially he talks about, what you need to do in order to succeed at a very high level, in order to develop monk-like discipline, right? So I'm going to cover my own definition, how I put together two realms of, thoughts, right? The NoFap community, celibacy, and also the entrepreneurial space. Because true monk mode, in my opinion, if you look at the people in the monastery, they do both, right? They sacrifice sexual gratification, sexual desire, and they also sacrifice distractions, vices. They eliminate drugs, alcohol, and all these other temptations within their life so that they can achieve a higher level of being, okay? Now, I'm going to read you the definition that I wrote down. I'm going to talk about my experience, why I decided to get started, and why, this is something you should consider if you struggle with vices, temptations, bad habits, etc. Okay, so what is monk mode? Monk mode is a period where you remove as many distractions, vices, or worldly sins that deter you from your dream, your vision, or your goal. And then as I was thinking about it this morning, I decided to add also higher purpose, or your best self, or your highest self, or your fullest potential, your highest potential here on earth, right? The same way a seedling, a tree, a plant, a flower grows into its full potential and blossoms to its full potential, I believe that humans, or you, your personality, your seed, right? Your personal seed of life, right? When your mom and your dad got together and gave birth to you, your fetus, right? The fetus. The same way that can blossom, you human being can blossom into its full potential, right? Which I call the high self, and many other animals, insects, whatever, can turn into their highest form. Monk mode is a way to unlocking that, right? So let me read this again. Monk mode is a period where you remove as many distractions, vices, or worldly sins that deter you from your dream, your vision, or goal, or your highest purpose / self, right? The reason why I say this is because there was a experiment or research study in the past, not research study, but like a experiment that we did in middle school. I think it was like second or third grade, so not even middle school, like elementary school, where we planted seeds that grew into, a plant, right? The seedlings, right? And we fed each plant, each seed, different types of nutrients, meaning one, we gave it water, another one, we gave it milk, one, we gave it soda, fruit juice, etc., right? And can you guess what happened? Well, obviously, the ones that were fed soda, milk, juice, and whatnot did not grow, or they grew all malformed and whatnot. It's because the plant, right, wasn't given the nutrients that it needed. Or you could say it was given the wrong type of nutrients, or it was poisoned, right? So a person who is constantly drinking alcohol, constantly smoking pot, constantly smoking cigarettes, constantly gambling, engaging in vice, playing video games, watching porn, busting nuts, right? Eating a bunch of junk food. You can think of it synonymous to people who are, or the plants that were not given proper nutrients. In order to grow to your fullest potential, in order to fulfill your destiny here on earth, you have to receive the proper nutrients, whether it be spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, right? You have to be given the proper nutrients in order to grow, in order to blossom to your highest capacity, right? And when you poison yourself with vices, well, I'm not saying you can't do drugs. I'm not saying you shouldn't play with psychedelics, because I've done all this shit, right? I'm not saying you can't have sex or watch porn or ejaculate, right? That's not the point of this video. It's that when you do it excessively, and when it becomes a habit, when it becomes addictions, right, an addiction, and you can't stop, and you're killing yourself, or you're constantly using these as a way to make yourself feel better and using it as a crutch, what you're doing is you're stunting your growth, right? You're keeping that seedling from blossoming, or you're not allowing it to blossom to its fullest potential. So monk mode is a way of combating, all the distractions, all the vices, all the temptations, all the bad habits that one is exposed to in the modern day world, right? Which is why I wrote here, similar to how monks remove access to the material world, like not doing drugs, not eating meat, right? Not having sex, going celibate for a while, not playing with their wee-wee, right? And just removing any temptations that is hindering their progress as a spiritual being on a spiritual path to, ascend spiritually, to have evolution, to experience spiritual evolution, right? They sacrifice lower desires, right? Things that are getting in their way of their spiritual growth. They sacrifice that, and they use, the energy that they would have otherwise be giving to these lower level behaviors and desires. They use it, or they focus on the things that matter, such as service to God, right? Or being service to humanity, doing philanthropic-like deeds, or being volunteers, or just dedicating themselves to uplifting humanity, right? Reading scripture, reading the Bible, reading the Quran, reading the Buddhist texts, Vedantic texts, Hindu texts, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is that they study, reading scripture so that they can elevate the level of consciousness, their awareness, right? Doing meditation, I think it's called japa in Hindu, right? Mantras, chanting, right? Purifying their mind, purifying their consciousness, purifying their nervous system, doing breath work, right? Doing yoga, doing poses that allow them to open up different channels within their body, tap into their human potential, their spiritual potential as a physical, spiritual, and mental being, right? The point of monk mode, right, in my opinion, is to eliminate, or at least for a period of time, get rid of shit that is getting in your way of becoming the best version of yourself, okay? If the acorn, right, can blossom into an oak tree, if it's given fertile soil, if it's put in the forest, or if it's put into an environment that allows it to blossom to its fullest capacity, or sprout to that great oak tree, if it is given, good soil, sunlight, and a biodiverse community of microorganisms, worms, and all that, insects, good air, clean air, so that it can blossom to its fullest capacity, then the same way humans, right? Humans and spiritual beings need purity of mind, consciousness, proper nutrients, right? Proper relationships. The highest that a man and human being can achieve or needs to be given to that person. And monk mode is a way of achieving that, right? When you purify your mind by not engaging in sins, right? And I think of sins as things that you repeat that does not give you the result you're looking for, right? You are engaging in sin when you know that, okay, I'm watching too much porn, or ejaculating too much, masturbating too much, and it's depleting me, it's making me weak, and I can't stop doing it. Or I drink alcohol because it makes me feel better, but the next few days I feel like shit because it poisoned me, right? And you keep repeating it, right? Or you're smoking pot You're smoking cigarettes, right? And you know it's poisoning your lungs, it's making you cough, but it's making you feel better, but it's in the long run, it's actually hurting you. It hurts your lungs and you can't stop, right? Or you're watching too much TV, too much Netflix, and you keep doing a certain behavior despite knowing its negative consequences, and you stop, or you cannot stop, right? That is what I call a sin, right? If Christians have other beliefs. They believe that, you're a sinner when you do this and this and this. Now, obviously, there are sins that I believe are more harsh, meaning you kill someone or you hurt someone or I call these evil deeds, right? As opposed to sins, but, everyone has their own take on it. I also have my own thoughts about heaven and hell, right? I think heaven and hell exists here on this plane, and your level of consciousness, your level of emotions determines or dictates whether you're living in hell, right? The dimensions of lower consciousness on a day-to-day, or you're living in heaven, the dimensions of higher emotions, bliss, love, happiness, joy, tranquility, peace, etc., right? These are states of beings, and monk mode is a way of tapping into, right, the higher realms, the higher ways of existence, right? If a man is capable, if a human is capable, right, man or female, is capable of these higher levels of emotions, why don't we try and figure out a way to live according to these principles, these natures, right? It's virtue, right? So I read here, in our modern day world, I believe it's necessary to incorporate monk life discipline or monastery lifestyle to some extent, so we can get clear on our dreams, vision, our goals, or so that we can experience higher levels of emotions, right? When we are constantly bombarded by information, advertisement, consumerism, it's easy to get swept in the material world, losing touch with our ultimate purpose or vision here on earth, or losing touch to our inner self, our higher self, right? Our divine self. Because if you're constantly engaged in the physical world, the material world, matter, right? The illusion, the matrix, matter and matrix, then ultimately you get distracted with creation rather than the creator, right? When you're distracted with creation itself, right? All the things, the Garden of Eden, if you're distracted with all the things that are out here, you forget about, right, what's in here. I believe, right, not the purpose, right? I guess you could say it's the purpose and also not the purpose, right? It's a paradox. The purpose and not the purpose of the matrix is to take your attention away from yourself. Because when you take back attention and you bring it within yourself and you realize the divine spark, the divine essence, the divine creator that is within all things, that is within you, that is within the trees, that is within the world, right? The God within all things, you become more God-like, right? And the Christians will be like, did you just say you're God, right? Blasphemy, you're going to burn in hell. Don't use God's name in vain. You can't claim you're Jesus. You can't claim you're God, right? But hey, if God created all this, and as Paul Checkwood says, right? If God creates all this, then there is nothing but God. And if there's nothing but God, then everything is God, right? Even the devil is God. God created the devil, right? Knowing that he would become the devil. What, so he could play mind games with himself or just fuck around and be like, hey, look, I created the devil. We'll be like, oh, it's free will. And well, is there really free will if God knows what's going to happen, right? Like, think about that. Like, there's an all-knowing, omnipotent God that is going to decide to create the universe, right? Knowing, omnipotent, what's the word for, I think omnipotent, but there's like omniscience, right? Knowing goddamn well what's going to happen, yet he still does it, right? Or, right, a God who chooses to forget, right? Amnesia, what it is, where it came from, right? The mystery of its own creation, and, allow the process of, people figuring it out, realizing that everything is God. God is everywhere. You are God. I'm God. Everything's God, right? Anyways, let's talk about monk mode, right? Let's get back to monk mode, right? So ultimately, monk mode is a commitment to your higher self, right? The reason why did I'm talking about the reason why I started monk mode, and also some of the benefits you can expect because I'm going all over the place. So monk mode is ultimately a commitment to your higher self, right? Why did I choose to do monk mode, right? So I'm 27, right? For most of my 20s, early 20s, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, I was kind of exploring and figuring out, what exactly it is I'm meant to be doing, right? I was trying to figure out, what is my purpose? What are my skill sets, right? I learned, I learned a skill set. I did personal training for about 2, 3, 4 years, right? And I was doing part-time jobs here and there in college, kind of figuring shit out. And for most of my 20s, it was just exploration, right? Exploration. And then 24 to 26 was basically COVID, right? Where I was locked up, in a cell. No, not really. I mean, I was running my family's business. It was a one-man army. I was running a shop in Orange County. And I was basically doing your typical 9 to 5. And I, wasn't really able to expand or explore my potential, right? It was more like 9 to 5 slave labor, right? Which I don't have any problem with because it was actually a blessing in disguise. And I was able to kind of save up some money and throw it into crypto and, make some savings and whatnot. But most of my 20s, right, from about up to 26, I was not really making things happen, right? On a financial level, on a mental emotional level, on a spiritual level. And it wasn't until 26 when I decided to move back and convert our garage into my workspace and get into body work, did I actually finally say I was kind of finally able to walk my own path and do the thing that I wanted to do and commit 100% of the time to myself, right? Not work for anyone else and work for myself. But I realized that the rate I was going at, the rate I was, I guess, growing and expanding wasn't at the rate that I was looking to be, right? When I moved back home from last year, 2022, I allowed myself to, kind of coast a little bit. I would see a client here and there. At nighttime, I would play some League of Legends with my brother. And then every now and then I would drink, right? I actually drank a good amount. But by no means was I alcoholic, right? Even though this sounds crazy, right? I got in the habit of drinking 1 or 2, servings of alcohol, 1 or 2 beers, or 1 or 2 hard kombucha, cans of hard kombucha, or drinking red wine every now and then. It almost came to a point where I was drinking every day. And a lot of you guys would be thinking, oh, you're an alcoholic. No, calm down, right? I was never really an alcoholic. I had a bad habit of drinking, right? So in 2023, I was like, okay, there are certain dreams, visions, and goals that I want to experience. And the rate at which I'm making this happen is not to my likings, right? If I have these big, ambitious goals, yet right here, I'm spending my time and energy playing video games with my brother, drinking alcohol on a regular basis. And at the time in 2022, after I've done my long semen trenching streaks, 13 months, 11 months, 11 months, starting in 2017. In 22, I kind of let myself go a little bit. I didn't do it every day. I did it once every few weeks, right? Meaning like I busted my nut once every few weeks. Sometimes it'd be once a month. Sometimes it'd be once every 2 months. So I did short bursts of semen retention streaks. So in 2022, I kind of coasted, right? I kind of, just enjoyed my life a little bit more, right? I traveled for massage therapy, for body work, to learn. And I just didn't discipline myself as hard as I did in the past. So 2022 was kind of just chill. Move back, get my business set up, explore, just allow that first year to really build out the systems that I needed in my life. In 2023, I decided, okay, I can no longer allow myself to just coast, right? If I want to succeed, if I want to obtain these hopes, these dreams, these desires, I had to give up something. So for me, monk mode was about giving up alcohol, right? Giving up video games, which I haven't played at all this year, right? On the computer, no League of Legends, no, I haven't touched that. I broke my 100-day streak when I went to China, right? Sadly enough. It wasn't sad because I chose to. I didn't see my family for 5 years. And all of our, dad's side of the family got together, and I was like, I don't see these people often. I could always resume my streak when I come back. So one night, I only drank one night this year. I haven't had alcohol at all aside from that. So I only drank alcohol one night this year, and I got fucking shit-faced and really drunk and just kept throwing up when I got back home at like 2 or 3 o'clock at night. So I gave up alcohol. I gave up not drugs. I gave up alcohol, video games, and I gave up porn and ejaculation, right? So no fap, semen retention. I did that for the beginning of this year, and I ended it midway through April, right? When I got back from China as well, I had to end my semen retention streak. I talked about it a little bit more in another video. Long story short, my system, my energy was too fucked up, right? My energy was too fucked up when I came back. I had crazy sexual urges, crazy sexual energy, which I never experienced the first 3 months of doing it this year. But my system was all out of whack. And the fastest way to reset everything was to empty the tank, right? Not just once, I did it multiple times, 4 times to be exact. And I've been back on semen retention OFAC for about 2 weeks, and I feel really good. But long story short, what am I trying to say, okay? Monk mode, no fap, semen retention, getting rid of vices and temptations, I see it as a lifestyle, right? A necessity if you're trying to succeed in life at a high level, right? If you are clear on what you want to achieve, if you are clear on your spiritual growth, if you're clear on what you're trying to manifest, if you have big dreams, hopes, and visions, giving up certain temptations, vices, bad habits is going to supercharge your ability to get shit done, right? When I gave these vices up, when I gave up these distractions, I found myself with more energy, right? One, because of the no-fap and semen retention, but also because I no longer could distract myself with video games. I could no longer distract myself or escape with alcohol. And I was forced to look at my goals, right? I had nowhere else to run. I had nowhere else to look. I had nowhere else to play except for making my shit happen, right? Now, in the beginning, right, it was hard, right? In the beginning, the first few days, first few weeks or so, it was very hard to get myself to do the work, right? Because you're conditioned to, bored, play video games, bored, drink alcohol, bored, smoke pot, bored, go play, watch Netflix, go out and gamble, go out and play poker, etc., right? But when you don't allow yourself to engage in these behaviors, you can only focus on the things that matter. And when you can only focus on the things that matter, well, guess what? You will only focus on the things that matter. You will only do the things that matter. And you will move your life in the direction of your hopes, your dreams, and your desires, okay? So the benefits of monk mode, right? When you do monk mode and you remove, right? Personally, I remove three vices. It will give yourself more energy, more focus towards achieving the things that actually matter, right? And it will give you more mental, emotional well-being because you're not poisoning yourself with stupid shit. You're not engaging in low levels of behaviors. You're sacrificing your lower desires, your lower behaviors for things that actually matter. You're sacrificing the lower in order to obtain something higher, okay? The point, again, of monk mode is to get rid of temptations and vices so that you can be in service of God, in service of your higher self, your higher purpose, your mission here on life, right? You could do monk mode, right, to purify yourself, to purify your vibration, to purify your consciousness, to purify who you are as a person, as a human being, or you could use it to grow spiritually. Whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in life, whatever it is your goal is, monk mode can help a lot, right? So it's something I definitely believe you should, or definitely something you should consider doing. I believe that it will help you tremendously if you're tired, if you're sick and tired of staying where you are at life. If you want to move the needle at a higher rate, monk mode is definitely the way to do it, right? You don't have to sacrifice a bucket list of stuff, right? Choose one thing that you suffer the most with. This could be alcohol. This could be video games. This could be porn. This could be masturbation. This could be, pot, any other drug that you're experiencing, right? Any other vice, right? Sacrifice one thing or up to 3 things, maybe 2, whatever it is that you can manage. If you try to do it all, you're not going to get anything done. And you don't have to wait until New Year's, right? The key here is to start here, start today, and to not give up until you make it happen, okay? Monk mode is a powerful way to get you to live your best life, to live your highest potential here on earth, okay? So that's all I wanted to share. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments down below and let me know how things are going. Have a good one. Peace.